The origins of qigong are probably very ancient. We know that shamans entered into the spirits of different animals in their powerful healing dances, and this is mirrored in the practice of 5-animal qigong, one of the most popular styles today and the earliest to be described in Chinese texts. The relationship between qigong and dance is made clear in the 3rd century BCE Annals of Lu Buwei. It writes, "When the breath or energy of the individual is congested and stagnant, the muscles and bones are contracted and don't flex well. One therefore prescribes certain dances which guide the breath and ensure that it moves throughout the body in a harmonious fashion." Another passage introduces an idea repeated throughout the history of internal practice for over 2 millennia. Flowing waters do not stagnate because they move. The qi and bodily frame are also like this. If the bodily frame does not move, the vital essence does not circulate, and if it does not circulate, the qi will coagulate. The third passage from the same book describes self-cultivation practice as promoting health and resistance to disease by strengthening immunity against what is called exterior attack, primarily infectious disease. It writes, "One wants the skin to be tight, in other words resistant to exterior attack, the blood vessels to allow unimpeded motion, the sinews to be firm and the bones hard, the heart, mind and will to be concordant, and the vital energies to flow. When this is happening, agents of disorder, i.e. sickness, have nowhere to abide, and pathology has nowhere to be produced." Slow deep breathing is an essential part of genuine qigong, and the earliest text to describe its practice was found inscribed on a 4th century BCE jade block. It describes a complex method of breathing deeply and sinking the breath so that it can then grow upwards and rise to the brain. The text says, "Who practices this will attain long life." The Nei Ye, a collection of 26 beautiful verses, was written in the 4th century BCE. It's principally read as a core text of early Daoist meditation. Yet all practitioners of qigong and the internal martial arts will resonate with the following passages. "For all to practice this way, you must coil, you must contract, you must uncoil, you must expand. You must be firm, you must be regular in this practice. If people can be aligned and tranquil, their skin will be ample and smooth. Their eyes and ears will be acute and clear. Their muscles will be supple and their bones will be strong. They will be able to hold up the great circle of the heavens and tread firmly over the great square of the earth." The 3rd century BCE classic, the Zhuangzi, Book of Master Zhuang, although referring disparagingly to Daoyin practitioners, Daoyin is one of the ancient names for qigong, makes clear that breathing practices and animal forms were well known at the time. It says, "To huff and puff, exhale and inhale, blow out the old and draw in the new, do the bear hang and the birch stretch, interested only in long life. Such are the tastes of the practitioners of Daoyin, the nurturers of the body." By contrast, the Zhuangzi says, "Tao is in the deepest obscurity. Its highest reach is in darkness and silence. Nothing is to be seen, nothing to be heard. Hold the spirit in stillness, the bodily form will become correct. You remain still, you remain pure, not subjecting your body to toil, not agitating your vital force. Then you may attain longevity." Ultimately, there needs to be no contradiction between these two approaches, since cultivation of the mind in awareness and stillness is a core part of genuine body, breath, mind qigong practice. In the early 1970s, the tomb was discovered in Changsha, China. It had been sealed up in 168 BCE and had been untouched since. Ma Wang Dui, or King Ma's mound, was full of treasures, including mummified bodies, clothing, precious metals, ancient texts, and a silk scroll depicting figures practicing Daoyin. Daoyin, an early term for qigong-type practices, literally means the skill of leading or guiding qi to flow through the body by mental, physical, and breathing practice. A few years later, another tomb was discovered in Zhangjiashan in Hubei province. Inscribed on bamboo slips, the Yinshu stretch book described 40 different exercises to maintain health and treat disease. They included work on the legs and feet, for example, pointing and flexing the toes 30 times, and the back and neck, for example, interlacing the fingers at the back and bending forward, then turning the head to look at the heels, with further sections on lunges, forward bends, and exercises to open the shoulders. Hua Tuo was a famous 3rd century doctor, accredited with being the first person in China to use anesthesia, a cannabis-based medicine called mafezan, during surgery. He wrote, "Among the transcendents of antiquity, there have been Daoist masters who performed the arts of Daoyin, performed bear hanging and the sparrowhawk reverse look, drawing and pulling the inguinal crease, moving all the joints, in search of delaying the aging process. I have one art called 5 Animals Frolic. The first is called tiger, the second deer, the third bear, the fourth gibbon, the 5th bird. These also cure disease. One should use these frequently." The 4th century Great Clarity scripture on healing exercises and nourishing life, more popularly known as the Baduanjin or the Daoyin Classic, was entirely devoted to practices that integrate movement, breathing, meditation, and visualization, as is modern-day qigong. It wrote, "The practice of healing exercises eliminates all unhealthy qi from the limbs, skeleton, bones, and joints. Thus only healthy qi remains in residence, becoming ever purer and more essential. Practice the exercises diligently and with care whenever you have time. If you do them both in the morning and at night, gradually your bones and joints will become firm and strong, causing the 100 diseases to be cured. By guiding the qi, you can supplement the inner qi of the organs. By practicing exercises, you can heal the 4 limbs." The 7th century treatise on the causes and symptoms of disease included some 213 Daoyin exercises for different medical conditions. Speaking predominantly to the educated and wealthy, it warned against laziness and advocated physical exercise, whilst simultaneously cautioning against the dangers of overuse of the body. It wrote, "People should not yearn to indulge in pleasures. Hedonists don't live long. However, they also should not force themselves into exertions beyond their capacity, such as lifting heavy things and pulling with force, digging earth and other hard labour, as well as not resting when tired. These things will simply exhaust them to their sinews and bones. Actually, hard labour is better than indulgence and hedonism. It's good if they have something to do from dawn to dusk, and do it without rest, but when they feel they've reached their limits and ought to rest, they should rest, and then go back to work. Daoyin is no different from this. Flowing water never stagnates, and door hinges never rust because they work so much. The 7th century doctor Sun Simiao is so revered in China that he is known as the god of medicine. He wrote, "If people exercise their bodies, the 100 ills cannot arise." He also wrote, "The way of nurturing life is to constantly strive for minor exertion, but never become greatly fatigued and force what you cannot endure." During the centuries that followed, a number of important Daoyin books were published. The 10th century 24 illustrated seated exercise practices to heal diseases required each of the movements to be practiced during a particular 2-week period in the Chinese calendar. The Song dynasty saw the appearance of the Baduanjin, or 8 pieces of brocade, which is now one of the most popular forms of qigong practiced worldwide. It developed into a northern martial Baduanjin and a softer southern literary Baduanjin style, which itself was divided into seated and standing practices. The literary standing form is the one most commonly practiced nowadays. The Ming and Qing dynasties saw the publication of numerous popular illustrated books on Daoyin and general health cultivation. During the latter part of this period, the 3 principal internal martial arts, Tai Chi Chuan, Xing Yi Chuan and Baguazhang, developed. Their core training methods, or Neigong, shared many similarities with the body-breath-mind integration of the self-cultivation practices. The modern, particularly 20th century history of qigong is discussed in a subsequent video.